Hi, my name is Pat, and this is my channel, Book Chat with Pat, and I'm glad that you're here. Today I'm going to be doing my weekly wrap-up for the week ending Saturday, April 26th. I've finished a couple of things, and I'm still in the middle of several ongoing projects. My in-person book group has elected to read The Great Gatsby this month by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and I am reading it in this new 100th anniversary special edition that was published by the Library of America. What is particularly special about this book is that it contains annotations that present a running commentary on the novel, on the biography of the Fitzgeralds, on the cultural references in the novel, and it also contains photographs and illustrations that really bring the 1920s to life. There's also an introduction in this particular edition by the contemporary American novelist Amor Tolls. So this is just this special edition is just bringing a new richness to this very familiar novel. I've also done a video on teaching The Great Gatsby in my series on books I love to teach, and I'll put a link to that video in the notes below in case anybody's interested. This week, we finished our reading of Adrian Tchaikovsky's Children of Time, and this is part one in a three-part series. I've been reading this book as a buddy read with my friend Lekden from Reading from the Depths. And Lekden lives in India, and I'm here in the United States, and because of the time difference, we have had to communicate about the book primarily through emails that we send each other at the end of each week's reading. But we are also going to have a live discussion later today. And I think it will be, it's going to be late morning in the United States, and it's going to be late evening in India. But Lekden graciously agreed to stay up late so that we can have at least one in-person, sort of in-person. We're going to be doing it online, but, in real-time discussion of this magnificent novel. We've had a wonderful experience reading it together. Lekden brings a wealth of knowledge and experience with science fiction to this buddy read, and he just brings a wealth of experience and intelligence to everything that he reads. But he's well versed in science fiction, and he's helped me enormously, as I am truly a novice in this genre. But it's just been a real delight reading with him. I will talk more about the book after we've had our discussion. I know that I want to read the rest of this series. I suspect Lekden probably does as well. I don't know that it will be as a buddy read, but I think we both are committed to seeing what happens in the world of this novel. He's read a number of Tchaikovsky novels, so he knows this writer's style, although I think he does different things in each of his series. But Lekden just brought just really, really great insights to our discussion. I've been continuing this week with our read-along of James Joyce's Finnegans Wake, the book I said I would never read. This read-along was initially started by Roy at Roy Reads Anything, and the event is also co-hosted by Alan at Big Hard Books and Classics and by Roz at Scally Dandling About the Books. There are several booktubers and several subscribers and commenters in this read-along. We're discussing it on Discord. I'm going to list everybody in the notes below. I continue to have no clue about what's going on in the novel, but I can tell you that I am thoroughly enjoying our efforts to talk about this in a Discord chat. Additionally, I have been reading some ancillary texts to help with what's going on, to give me some clue as to what's happening in this novel and what the larger context is. And I have a whole bunch of resources that I've shown in other videos. Some people are reading the ancillary guides and texts, and other people in the group are not, are just reading the text of Finnegans Wake to see what it does, to see where it goes. And I could make a case for doing it either way. But one thing that I am working my way through, and that is Richard Elmans' famous biography of James Joyce. This was written in 1959, and then it was revised in 1982. In graduate school, I had read selections from this. I had read a few sections, but I've never read the entire biography. And I'm doing that now. I thought it would be a good biography to read, not only for the Finnegans Wake read-along, but also for People April. The biography itself is a masterpiece. And I was talking about it in another video, and my friend, the lovely Hannah at Hannah's Books, left me a comment about the fact that there was another book that was coming out, supposed to be coming out in May. And this book by Zachary Leader is a biography of the biography. It's a biography of Richard Elman and of the entire experience of writing about James Joyce, and what he had to do, his dealings with the family to get access to papers and other resources. And so Hannah was telling me about this book that was coming out, and I looked it up, and it was supposed to come out in the middle of May, and I immediately ordered it because I've become fairly obsessed now with Richard Elman as a biographer. And I thought, this is something that I'm going to want to read when I finish the biography. And then the other day, it just showed up on my doorstep. It's not supposed to be released until sometime in May, but I just got, actually yesterday, this showed up. Elmans Joyce, the biography of a masterpiece and its maker. So while I have not even cracked this open yet, that's next up on my list of biographies. I am continuing my reading of Shakespeare's sonnets. We are reading these with Randy Ray, the literate Texan. His book group, the Lone Star Book Club, is reading the sonnets this month, and I'm reading them from the beginning as a narrative, all 154. I've read many of the sonnets before, and I've certainly taught the sonnets, the ones that are frequently taught and that are frequently anthologized, but I never read the sonnets from number 1 to number 154. And that's been a really enlightening experience, because there really is a narrative. Even though each poem can stand by itself, as a sonnet, there are themes, recurring themes, and recurring characters, and it's just been fascinating. And while I was actually, it was in the Finnegans Wake discussion group that I was made aware of another booktuber who's in the Finnegans Wake group, who had also done an absolutely brilliant series of videos last year on all of the sonnets, discussing usually 2 sonnets per video, and that's Too Tight Lautrec. So I have now been, in addition to reading these in order, I'm also watching this incredible video series. It's entitled The Shakey Sonnet Show. And this analysis and commentary on the sonnets in order by Too Tight Lautrec is just absolutely brilliant. Next, and I talked about this in another video, I have started this middle grade novel, Geos Fortune, by Amy B. Muka, who is a former student of mine from very early in my career. And I talked about this book in another video that I made this week on some lovely bookish gifts that I received. This former student of mine contacted me, told me her book was going to be published in May, and wanted to share it with me, and it also arrived on my doorstep the other day. She has, of course, as the author, she has early release copies, and she's been sending them to people in her life. And I was honored to receive this, and I started to read it immediately, and it is absolutely delightful. And I'm going to talk more about this on my channel after I've finished the novel. But I'm so proud of this former student of mine, Amy, and her accomplishments and her realizing her dreams. So that's what I've read this week. It was a good week in terms of my making of videos. On Tuesday, I did my dear friend Elaine at Cobaltdragon. I did her original tag, the dragon tag, and that was really fun because that was a tag where I thought I'm not going to have any books to talk about here because I haven't read enough with dragons. I haven't read enough books with dragons, and then I found out that I had, and I just had a lot of fun with Elaine's tag. Additionally, I wrapped up my celebration of National Poetry Month. All month I'd been featuring my favorite poets, and of course I saved Mary Oliver for this final video for National Poetry Month. And I tried to read poems that I haven't shared on the channel because everybody knows how I feel about Mary Oliver, and I've worked her poems into a whole bunch of videos over the past year. But this time I read from her New and Selected Poems, Volume 1, and this was a book for which she won the National Book Award, and I also read from her 2006 volume, Thirst. I did another video, a third video this week on some lovely bookish gifts that I received, including my students' book, and now this video. So it was a 4 video week. Coming up, I will have a video in the very near future on my plans for May, which will include more Finnegans Wake, the dramas that I will be reading with Angelia at Read and Reread for her Endless Drama reading event. A couple of long-awaited buddy reads that I'm very excited about, and some of the things that I have chosen to read for my second time participating in horror mayhem. Last year I was an absolute newbie to the horror genre, and my friend MJ got me started with T. Kingfisher, and well, I certainly wouldn't call myself a veteran horror reader. I've got some great things picked out, short things picked out to read for this event in May. So that will be coming up in the very, very near future. So that's about it for this week. As always, I thank you for watching. I hope that you're doing well. I'll speak with you again soon. Take care.